Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Tuesday night copy of our Wealth Strategies Leadership Group Leadership Webinar. And just a public service announcement right now, tomorrow or next week's webinar will be on Monday and thereafter on Mondays. So we've been able to move to that time slot, and I believe that will fit your week really nicely and get you off to a great kickoff to your week. And again, this evening we have our founder, one of the founding members, President and CEO of Wealth Strategies Leadership Group, Mr. Walt Lust.
Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. Happy September 11. And remember, next week, we're going to start the week off, and every week that thereafter with our webinars at 6 o'clock Pacific on Mondays. So please put it down on your calendar and tell all your friends. So tonight, I'm going to do the presentation, a seminar presentation, since all of us have to learn it, and we're going to do it at one of these years. But wanted to start with STP. And there's lots of things to it, because what we have to do is, and I'm asking you guys, what are you passionate about? I mean, really passionate, because I really am passionate about college funding because it's such a crisis, and it doesn't have to be, it doesn't need to be with the strategies that we recommend, is, of course, you know, and you'll see. And so are you passionate about this, or is this just something you're doing as a placeholder until something else better comes along? Because if that's the case, gosh, I hope you find something else better, but I don't know of any other thing to do than this, to have an impact, to impact families, get them out of debt, impact their retirement in a real sense, as well as college. So what we're doing here, of course, is sharing our passion. We're going to see the principles. We're going to show the presentation. And we're going to see the people after the presentation. And, of course, as a result, it's all about selling those policies. So our quote tonight is from Charlie Day. I don't think you should just do what makes you happy. Do what makes you great. And I assure you, bounce around those schools and you get those 10, 12 schools, you are going to be a hero to kids and parents. Do what's uncomfortable and scary and hard, but pays off in the long run. Let yourself fail and pick yourself up and fail again. Without that struggle, what is your success story anyway? Remember last week we talked about Kobe Bryant was the number 3 in all-time scoring. He's number 3 in all-time scoring. He's number 1 in missed shots. And of course, Babe Ruth was number 1 in strikeouts, and as a result, he was number 1 in home runs. So my point is, go out and increase your strikeouts, and I promise you, you'll get a lot of home runs. And there's a lot of guys out there right now. I know Dave McKenzie in Oklahoma and Glenn Gale in Chicago for 2 that are actually seeing schools and having some results and having fun doing it too. Because what is going on right now, and we're pretty close to the middle of September, is it's go time. So get those shoes on and go visit those principals and schools and STP time. Because the real reason why I got in this business was 2 big buying reasons. First is sense of urgency, because every day, and I've talked to parents who've got kids, and they sit there and they very knowingly nod their head, and you can ask a few, and I'm sure you get the same response. They realize that there's a deadline down the road where they're going to get to college, and oh my goodness, how are they going to pay for it? And along the way, since they're going to sock away all this money for college and everything else, fear of loss. Because what if their college fund did sink 20 or 40% due to market crash? They really are sunk, right? So hence, we are talking about our IUL tax-free solution. Now, in approaching schools, it's really not that complicated. I was with an associate, Tommy, a couple weeks ago, and he actually pulled out his phone and recorded me, and he said, Walt, the whole thing from start to finish was 3.5 minutes. We really are educating parents on better ways to pay for college and increase their ability to get and qualify for more financial aid and no cost, and of course, as well, paying for college with tax-free dollars. Because as you'll see in the seminar, we really are in a debt crisis, and we're on a crusade, one family at a time. Because right now, the debt is the accepted way, and I'm sorry, I'm not buying that anymore. 529 is the accepted way typically to put money in, and there are issues with that, which you'll learn. But paying for college with tax-free money, no matter what happens, is a better way. And of course, many instances, private universities are cheaper than public colleges. Now, remember from a couple weeks ago, we had SW, 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 SU. All you got to do is go out there, because some will, some won't. So what? Someone really is waiting. All you got to do is show up. And why do I say that? Because there was an article I read in the California Broker magazine here in California. A major company, Guardian, did a lot of research, and they found out that 75% of millennials, and if we're dealing with elementary schools, we're going to hit millennials, are open to a presentation regarding their finances. So how's that for being at the right place at the right time? So we are going to do our presentation. And my daughter made this college fund lemonade stand. She sold $70 on lemonade. So there's better ways to do it, right? So we are College Smart Solutions, and we really do have a very simple three-step approach for college availability. Because as you probably know, the vast majority of people are very confused and troubled about this economy. They feel bombarded by the media, bullied by salespeople, and bewildered by the million things they really feel they have to know to survive this financial jungle. And tonight, hopefully, we're going to clear away some of that, some of those tall trees in this jungle. Because I'm Walt Lusk. I really am the president and CEO of College Smart Strategies Group. I am a graduate of UC California, Irvine, with a bachelor's in economics and a minor in computer science. And I really have been in this industry for over 30 years, got the silver hair to prove it, and pretty much done all aspects of finance and focused on what we're talking about tonight very, very specifically, at least for the last decade. So our mission is to provide the best strategic and financial options so families can achieve the lowest possible costs at the best universities by doing it and offering very real affordable solutions, and reduce the need for financial aid, and therefore impact your retirement as well as providing more resources for college. Now, typically, the ways of funding college are, first and foremost, is the stock market and mutual funds. And the challenge for that is there's market risk. IRAs and 401ks are out there as well, and it's a source of funds. The challenge is, in my view, it was geared for retirement. And if that's used for college, then obviously you've got some fees to pay, and of course there's market risk and taxes along the way. Equity in your home is one option, and you might have to pay a higher rate, and some want to jeopardize their home, and that's what it's for, and others don't. Savings is a very common option as well, and while the money is there, I believe that banks really aren't as safe as they used to be, and of course, you're not even dealing in close to inflation at all, let alone the cost of college. And of course, lastly, is college plans, and as you're going to see, as a result, there is reduced financial aid. It's really crazy. The government's going to give us, in many instances, through the college savings plan, the 529 plan, and then they turn it right around and take it away. Now, the crusade we're on is the mounting and ginormous college student loan debt, and these numbers from last year. And America, from all student loan programs, owe over $2.67 trillion in loan debt by millions of borrowers. And that amount is even $620 billion more than everybody owes in credit cards. And if you just talk about the federal situation, the average, which means half or higher and half or lower, the average payment of that once they graduate is $351 a month. Try qualifying for a car with your first job, or an apartment, or a home for that matter, when you've got that amount of money you've got to pay for your education. Because really, that debt is so large that only 7 countries have a higher gross domestic product. Now, this crisis is even worse because if mom and dad actually co-sign for that federal loan, and nobody, the student or the parents, get around to paying that loan off before they hit Social Security, Social Security has the ability to garnish your income. That's how serious the situation is, and how serious the financiers really want their money back, and you can't bankruptcy out of it either. So, and the reason is this crisis is because college has become very expensive. As you can see here, over the last 20 years plus, the cost of tuition is double the inflation rate. So it's not going to get any better anytime soon, unfortunately. So because the average cost of the public university across the country is $24,000 in 61, and the average cost of private university is $47,831, about twice that cost. But it's actually more than that because it is paid for with after-tax dollars. So we have to earn more than that just to net that amount to get that amount to pay for college. So a lot of our clients are looking for different ways to pay for college. And a common way, of course, is money saved is deplete that. Many times, someone's got to go work for and get another job. If it's the mom, the wife, she's now got maybe 2 jobs, and let alone the job of managing the family and the household. Borrow from your home equity. Hit up grandma and grandpa. Maybe they've got the money, but maybe they don't. Again, we've talked about spending down your retirement, and again, I think that's retirement. You can try and qualify financial aid, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But the most popular and easy choice is to go to a less desirable and cheaper school. So a lot of our clients are asking, gosh, there's got to be a better way. And you know what? There is, because creating billions of dollars of debt and saddling us all with long-term debt is not the accepted way anymore, in my view. So I commend all of you for being here and seeking alternatives, because there really is a better way. And I hope tonight you're going to learn a little bit, and you want to invest a little bit more about how there really is a better way to do this. Now, our 3-step approach to college affordability, the first step is, we're on our way to doing that, is educate the best strategies to save and pay for college with getting you the most money. Now, that's 2 ways, of course, tax-free money that we're talking about, but of course, in the events you have to, financial aid as well. Suggest ways to improve your cash flow to reduce your expected family contribution, the EFC. We're going to talk about that. And that's financial aid related. And then lastly is to help you find high gifting universities that match your child's career path. So the savings options are several. There's a 529 plan, and we're going to talk about has challenges. Prepaid colleges is another one. And it's not a bad idea. Maybe it's mom and dad's alma mater and they really want their child to go there. But what if the child doesn't want to attend that college after it's all said and done, or that they don't have a discipline or a major that is offered that the child wants? Maybe it's a liberal arts college and they want to become an engineer or something. And then, of course, there's the custodial accounts, which are popular with grandparents. But there's a catch to all of these. They reduce the amount of financial aid that the parents are going to qualify for. Again, they giveth and they taketh away. So how does the 529 savings plan work? Well, it's a tax-advantaged investment vehicle designed to encourage savings for education expenses. And now, with the changes in the law, it actually is for high school as well. But only 34 states offer that tax deduction for the contribution. And assuming there's a tax deduction, then whether or not there is, it's tax-deferred growth. Distributions can be tax-free and used for the qualified expenses, which of course is tuition, room, board, a car, transportation, books, supplies, computer, and special needs. And of course, the parents do maintain control of where the money is invested and what to do with it. Now, the challenges with it are, in the event the money is not all used, then there's income tax and a penalty to be paid. And it's in the market, so there is risk. And of course, there's fees and limited options, because not every investment outfit has a 529 plan, and it reduces the EFC, the expected financial contribution. How? By 5.64% per year, almost 6%, of the financial aid available on an annual basis. So over a 4-year period, that is over a reduction of 22.5%. So we are recommending an alternative, because the 529 plan may or may not be deductible. It is in 34 states. It does have tax-deferred growth. It is penalty-free if it's used only for educational purposes and related expenses. And the owner does maintain control of it and where the money goes. And of course, there's market returns. We are recommending an alternative that has all those advantages, but doesn't have the deductibility. So therefore, there is no market risk, and as you'll see, it really does have a very competitive rate of return. There's tax-free penalty distribution for whatever you want, whether the kid wants to start a business, new car, wedding, home, doesn't matter. And it doesn't impact your EFC and financial aid in any way. It's kind of like legal hidden money. And it is self-completing if the parent dies, becomes critically ill, chronically ill, and whatever's left over and isn't spent on what they want can be converted to a tax-free pension that could last the rest of the parent's life. So it's a pretty potent option in our view. Now, if you don't remember anything about this evening, I would like you to remember this graph, because this is how it works. There's 4 lines here, and this is the historical rate of returns of the market and savings over the last 20 years from 1998 to last year, 2017. The black line, the bottom line, is 2%. So if you put money in at 2%, 20 years later, you've got close to $150,000. The red line is the market, the S&P 500. And lately, it's done very, very, very well. But 10 years ago, 10 years ago this month in 2008, the market crashed between 37 and 50%, depending upon the index and fund. How would you like to be getting ready to write that check for college, and all of a sudden the fund you're using has 30 to 50% less money in it? How are you going to write that check the following year? Because you only have a window to write this, right? We are recommending the index strategy, which is option B, which is the blue line, which has done very, very well. And just to keep us honest and show you the impact of the rate of return, that yellow line is a 7% compounded rate over the same period of time. And as you can see, it doubled twice. The 100,000 in 10 years actually did turn into 200,000, and the 200,000 turned into 400. So we're asking you to consider following the yellow brick road. Now, let's talk about EFC, expected family contributions, for a moment. Why is it important? Because it ultimately represents what you have to pay out of pocket before any aid is given. If it is higher and greater than the cost of college, then of course there is no financial aid. So the goal here is to lower that as much as possible to give you the ability, if need be, or you want, is to qualify for more aid and do that. And that's what we do. Now, how is aid calculated? Well, first, you have your COA, which is cost of attendance of the university or college. And then they subtract right off the top your expected family contribution. And the bottom is your need. And then what's left, grants, scholarships, work study, and loans are going to help meet that need. So let's go through some examples of what really impacts the EFC. It's more than you think. First is the age of the parents. How many are in the family? How many children are actually in college? Parents' income from all sources, what the assets of the parents are, most of the assets, and even the children's assets. So again, maybe you've got 2 kids, and early on there's only 1 child in college, and then maybe you've got a freshman and a senior. Well, that is taken into consideration in terms of number of children in college. Now, in terms of the penalties and how it all plays out, these are the annual figures of how parents are penalized on their assets. So we have income, here it's adjusted gross income, your equity in your home, your checking and your savings, the 529 plan, your retirement, and what the student has saved. Maybe grandpa and grandpa or mom and dad have given them money. Well, they have to know what's in that, and they're penalized. So the income is penalized at 20% per year. The home equity, checking and savings, and the 529 plan, rounding up, is 6%. It's actually 5.64%. And then the contribution is 15%. In this case, they're going $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year. And then what the student has in savings. Interestingly enough, in 5 years at 20% per year, that $10,000 in this example is gone, right? So add up all the penalties, and the calculated expected family contribution, the EFC, is $37,900. So let's go through a real example here. If the cost of attending a college is $35,000, and from our example, the EFC is $37,900, then by that math, there is no need because in theory, mom and dad can handle the tuition. If we optimize it, which is what our goal is, and again, we do that for free when we sit down with y'all, we reduce it to 20,000. So that means there's a need for 15,000, and 70% of that is $10,050 over a 4-year period. That's $40,200, which of course is a little over what the cost of 1 year of that college university is. Now, if we look at, as we mentioned, many instances from our experience, a private university is more competitive and less cost on a net cost basis than a public college, and the reason is simple. Private universities always have endowments, and they realize that the cost is way out of reach for most families, and they have more money to gift to compensate for that cost. So in this example, we have a tuition at $63,000, $193 per year, and the parents are able, their EFC from this example is $5,000. Their need is the difference, which is $58,193, and the school is able to meet 100% of that need. How? By gifting, just gifting, because I want the student for whatever reason, maybe diversity, maybe some, thing that want to contribute to the college, right? 88% of that, so that's $58,381, and the difference, the $6,812, is given with loans and work study. So if we add the $6,812 and the $5,000 with EFC, then the net cost to the parent and the student is just shy of $1,000 a month, $12,000 a year. Looking at the public college, we have one that's 1/3 the cost at $21,019, the same expected family contribution, and so therefore the difference in the need is $16,019. Now the school is able to gift 30% of that. And again, it's 30% something, so the need is the difference, which of course is 70%, $11,213, and they meet that with an unmet need. So that's got to come from somewhere, right? And a little more in the loans and work study and the student's part. And so the net result is, of all three of those, the EFC, the unmet need, and of course the loans and work study, is $17,655 per year, or just shy of $18,000 per year. So you can see in this example that in many instances, this is reality. The public school, the public college, is more expensive on a net cost basis than the private university, again, because the gifting, the school is able to gift and compensate for the high cost of that institution of higher learning. So just to recap and summarize, I really hope you've learned something today about the expected family contribution, the EFC, and how you can grow your college fund with guarantees and no risk, so that you know and have peace of mind that when you are ready for your child to enter college, every single dime you've invested, earned, and saved is there for you. Because earning a 7% rate of return on a compounded tax-free basis, as you've seen, is very realistic expectation and from the strategies we recommend. So what's our next step? Well, we would love to sit down with you and meet with you and just learn about your situation and your specific needs and see if we can actually meet that need with a customized solution, because our goal is to help you with that and then implement it with your strategies for more tax-free dollars to pay for college, and of course help you qualify for more financial aid if need be. So I hope you've learned a few things about what's going on in the world of money and finance and college funding. Because while this is a very exciting time in our financial world, it is also very confusing in our economic history, and things are changing very, very fast and very rapidly, and many of the old rules are being called into question. Some of you may be a bit hesitant and maybe a little bit scared, then that's perfectly okay, because it takes a little bit of time to get comfortable and used to some of these concepts that we've shared this evening. Maybe tonight we can get you started on that road, because the bottom line is we can definitely help you reach those financial goals if you're willing to take a couple of steps in action. Because this is really a journey you do not have to take alone with us and College Smart Strategies. And to close with another sign my daughter made, and that is that life might hand you some lemons, but maybe you want to go to college. So there's a quick survey we're going to have you fill out, and we'll be available for some brief discussions and questions afterward. So thanks, guys, for attending and participating. Any questions, give me a shout. Be happy to go over it again and give you all the tips and tricks and transitions. It's all there. Have a great evening, and God bless everyone.